You're listening to Edge Radio TV. The views and opinions expressed in this program are that of the host or guests, and not the Edge Radio Network or its advertisers or affiliates.
Good morning, moguls. Happy Monday. Once again, it's still Women's History, or like we like to say, Herstory Month. Shout out to all the women out there making it happen for themselves and families. You are tuning in to Mogul on the Move. And I'm your Mogul on the Move, Sean Eaglin. I want you guys to follow me on Instagram at Mogul on the Move. And today we're going to be talking about women and home ownership, right? What better subject to talk about than home ownership, investing in yourself. So today I have a special guest, and I call him my bro, my brother. We have an awesome relationship. God really blessed me when I connected with this mortgage banker / friend / family. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Mr. Tosh.
Hello, everyone. This is Tosh. I'm your friendly neighborhood mortgage banker, so I can give some great advice, and look forward to really helping out and encouraging home ownership. Very exciting time, and it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier than people think to buy a home. So.
Exactly. I get
that. That's what I'm here for. Mm-hmm.
So for those of you guys who don't know, I'm also a real estate agent. And as Tosh alluded to, especially, well, really just your first home time buyers. You don't really hear from your seasoned home buyers. But there's that fear, there's that anxiousness that this process is going to be so grueling. And, oh, God, it seems like a feat that's impossible. But it really is, in my opinion, somewhat of a smooth process, besides the fact that you guys have to ask, for documents maybe multiple times due to underwriting. So is that the sense? Let's talk about that. Do you get a lot of clients, I'm sure you do, like I do, first-time home buyers that are fearful? They have that anxiousness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because it's normal. It's a natural feeling because it's such a huge jump. It's a huge step in your life, so it's going to naturally make you feel stressed. Yeah. But I'm here to tell you, it's as simple as opening a checking account, savings account. It's documents that you have to fill out. Mm-hmm. It's things that we have to verify. Yeah. But for the most part, it doesn't take much. A lot of the behind the scenes you don't have to worry about. It's kind of the sitting and waiting for the process to happen as a first-time home buyer, or even as a seasoned home buyer. It still stresses you out a little bit, but that's because we make it stressful. Just it's imaginary. It's not necessary.
Exactly.
If you're responsive, you get what we need. What we request. You're buying a house. It's really simple. It's really that simple.
And we're there to take care of you. Speaking of take care,
that's right.
I want to go back to Women's History Month. So, Tosh, share with me a woman in your childhood. I kind of think I know who you're going to say. A woman in your childhood that inspired you, that motivated you, that pushed you to strive to be the best you could be. What woman would that be? Who would you celebrate on this morning?
Oh, my mom, my mother. She spoiled me. And, but I always wanted to be just like her. She's super smart, very creative. very giving, kind lady. So I definitely mirror myself after her, from that aspect of my personality. So no, definitely my mom.
Did she push you?
Yeah, she
Did she push you with it regarding education?
for sure. You know what she wasn't. It's kind of like she pushed me, but not like my father pushed me with the iron fist, right, which I needed.
Mm-hmm.
But my mother was just that. It was that kind. I just wanted to be like her.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding and listening.
Mm-hmm.
And giving, just going out of your way as a giver, that's what I saw as, that's how I wanted to be like her. She worked in the airline industry. She was office manager. She traveled and spoke in front of large crowds and trained people. And so it's like, I just wanted to be like her. So that's what motivated me, because she was, like always, it was the little things that she did. Again, my father was the iron fist, but my mom would take it a step further and talk to me.
It almost seems like she was a trailblazer for her time, because in the 80s, you didn't have many African American women that were out, like you said, speaking in front of large crowds, traveling and
that's right,
working, in that fashion.
That's right. She got picked up. I mean, they asked her to do it, and they had her travel. She worked for Continental Airlines, which is now United, and they had her traveling, training all the training employees around the country, and because she's just so smart, and she can translate. It's a genuine giving energy that she gives, and I think that has a lot to do with my success. In my industry.
I agree. I will say that you are very rare species in the mortgage industry or real estate industry, to say the least, because you've always been very humble. You definitely have a sincere care for your clients. And like you always say, hey, I advise my clients, I most likely will have the best deal package for your mortgage. But if you find someone else out there that, may offer you something better than I can, hey, I'm going to advise you to do what's best for you. And that's rare with mortgage bankers or real estate agents. People in general are more so self-serving. So you won't, for example, me getting my first $1 million deal, actually their budget, they were relocating from California, originally was $750. He didn't want to go over $750 because he was purchasing the home for tax purposes. I don't know if you remember me talking about Mr. Zedler. And so he was like, I'm just going to claim and file that I'm living here 51% of the time. I'll come here, play golf, enjoy myself, and go back to California in between, to do work. So he kept the home in California too. But he told me after the fact that he was testing me, because we had placed a contract on the home. And I told him, no, I wouldn't feel comfortable due to the inspection. Let's just keep moving forward and looking for homes, when I could have kind of, I guess, advised for him to, you can get that fixed, and et cetera, et cetera. And for that purpose, he raised his budget to really a little bit over $1 million. But people will test you, and if your heart is not right, you can miss out on a blessing. And we've discussed that, giving.
That's right.
And knowing that what's meant for you is for you.
That's right. No, I mean, I've had clients not go with me, but force their children to go with me. Call my son, call my daughter. And then as I realize who they are, because I deal with, I don't know, 10,000 people a day. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, he didn't even go with me, but yet he made sure his kids went with me.
Wow.
And it just happens that way. So my mindset is always, you have to do what's best for the individual. That's it. Well, and that's not maybe what I feel it is. It's whatever they think it is. And sometimes, it may not make sense. But that's not for me to say it does. It doesn't. I'll give you my 2 cents, but of course, I expect you to make the best decision for you.
And it's interesting because I just had this conversation. What we may think is norm, there's so many, and you've dealt with this. There's so many personal reasons why a person may do something like lease a loft in the museum district for $7,000 when they definitely can purchase. It could be because they're going through a divorce, and they could, but we don't. The layman's person doesn't think about those type of things. Now I might say, girl, why don't you go ahead and just purchase? Why would you want to spend $7,000? Even as a real estate agent, I've caught myself. But then I know there's personal reasons.
That's right.
So the client has the last say, and depending on what's going on in their life, they may decide to make a decision that we might not necessarily want them to
agree with, or something that I wouldn't do. But what does that matter?
Exactly.
It's whatever what their mindset is, and then we try to put what we're allowed to do with them, and connect. Meet them halfway, or meet them all the way, rather, so we can get them done and get a happy client. Because if you have a happy client, then you have them for life.
Okay, so this is going to be a good segue into honoring another woman. When we come back, I want you to think about, on the break, what woman as an adult has either inspired you, that you may have admiration for. It could be someone that's mentored you in your career. But what woman has stood out? It could be a professor, whatever figure. But the woman that you feel like has had the most impact as an adult to you, and honoring that woman as soon as we come back. All right, guys, we'll be right back. You're watching Mogul on the Move.
EDGE is about community, synergy, and empowerment.
The responsibility be on this? Should we have had a national plan, or should
that the government needs to get out of the way and let people figure it out?
What do you do for your face? So I do have a skincare line called Infinity Skincare. And welcome back to How You Living on Edge Radio Live. So to Jennifer, I'm just saying live, and I'm out.
Peace.
Can't say we not working, okay?
You cannot say we not working.
Say that we are.
No, they're just ready to get back out there and start sexing up other people. Yeah.
That we weren't interested in any silver medals. If they wanted to give us the gold medal that we earned.
各位亲爱的观众，我是富卡，今天又到了我们
It's a hotel kind of vibe.
Well, I mean,
we're
sure,
turning
like,
down to say, here's the dinner, man.
About the cheap sensation cocktail. This is our first mixed cocktail. We have.
Three, action.
Very good margarita.
Folks, as always, this is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get, right? So to the Edge Radio Network, we are going to be bringing you continuous, interesting conversations, interesting encounters, interesting experiences, education, knowledge, and a lot of laughs and a lot of fun, folks. So you don't want to miss it. So
when people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
All right, moguls, we are back with our mortgage banker, Tosh. And for you guys who are wondering, what is that you're wearing? This is actually a Black-owned golf apparel company, golferbro_apparel. You can find them on Instagram. They have a wide array, actually, of various sports. They even, for the ladies out there, they have a yoga design as well. Just various designs, actually. Skateboarders they have, and this is a female golfer, of course. I don't know if you guys can really see, but I'm going to post it on my Instagram stories as well and on my main page in the next couple of days. So, Tosh, what woman in your adulthood do you feel like has made a great impact on your life? Who would you say?
Has to be the wife. She
Yay!
always admired her. She's a hard worker, go-getter, all the above. Fantastic mom.
Aww.
And you know, most of my blessings, I can say, you know, once we connected, came. You know, so regardless, you give credit. You know, certain people in your life, certain good things can happen.
Yes.
I know that's not always the case, but I can say for me, a lot of it came during our time together. So, I got to give her credit for that. So it's, she can't get all the credit because I got to do the hard work, right? But still, I may be, sometimes we, guys are dummies.
Yeah, of course.
Hard-headed, rather. Yeah, but I ain't stupid, and I look at, certain things you see, you recognize them, and you got to give credit what credit is due. So she's
awesome.
everything. Yeah, she's everything you can ask in a human, and a partner, and a motivator, supportive. I mean,
I'm gonna have to
everything.
Snap this little part of the video so we can send it to wifey. That is so heartfelt, and that's that speaks volumes. I will say, as a woman, and I'm a single woman. I'm not married. I love to see husbands honoring their women and just uplifting. And you said something that's so important. When two or more agree and are together and plan a goal, I really feel like, your blessings are even more abundant when you have a teammate. Now that just happens to be your wife. But I think there's power when you have two heads together, two common goals. You're on the same, playing field, evenly yoked. I think that's what makes a difference. Finding that person that really does complement you and truly is a good teammate says a lot. Speaking of
keeps you motivated, keeps you focused when times are hard.
Yes.
Y'all have each other to lean on. And you never miss a beat. And I can tell you, I have peers and friends who, may have not made it through. Listen, relationships are tough, man. But when you're it's tough, man. It's almost impossible. I mean, it's almost impossible. But if you stay open mentally and spiritually, and also, and be realistic, everybody involved.
Yes.
Then things will be fine.
We might have to have you come back on for a relationship show.
Well, I'm with it.
And drop some jewels because we need some seminars, some conferences, some summits. For,
I can do it because it's just a
folks.
conversation. It's just being real. When you team up with somebody, it has to make you stronger. And that's the thing. Like, you can't team up with something that's gonna pull you down.
But the
it has to make you stronger.
key word is real. And we have a lot of insincere people out there.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, a lot of insincere
That's right.
people. And we deal with that in the
every
real
day.
estate industry. They not being honest about certain things as if we're not going to find out.
Yeah.
What's the craziest story you can share? Where you had to bust the deal.
And I'm not going to even put it on them. Sometimes you freeze up in the moment. So they didn't mislead, but during COVID, people lost jobs like in the middle of COVID,
Yeah.
And so, at the end, when we verify employment, because that's typically what happens. It's in the beginning and in the end. Yeah. To make sure you still have a job for situations like this, and the individual didn't have a job. Luckily, husband made enough to cover.
Oh, good.
Cover. Yeah, so we were able to get it done, but we still had to restructure things. We still got it done. The end result.
There we go. The partnership.
The
partnership. Leaning on each other, like you said. taking up the
but
slack.
She should have called me.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Tasha,
All right, moguls.
Yeah.
When you're going through the home buying process, now this is on the mortgage side, the loan side, as well as the realty, which is what I do as a real estate agent. Being honest, and most of all, most importantly, being honest with yourself. Knowing what you can and cannot afford, and being okay with, especially when you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing a starter home, knowing how much you've saved. And honestly, quite honestly, I'm going to say within the last 5 to 7 years, there's no excuse not being open-minded to purchasing a home and doing a little bit of renovation, because it's so easy nowadays to get someone to redo flooring. I don't care if you're going purchasing some nice laminate flooring, painting, doing those small renovations is worth it. And sometimes it's okay to purchase a home that may need a few tweaks. I have that conversation a lot with my first time home buyers. Thank God more of them are open. I guess because of DIY and HGTV, they're seeing that, okay, this is doable, this is attainable, even if you don't have the time to do it yourself, which most of us probably don't. Hiring someone, there's so many different contractors that are now doing the smaller home renovations to where it is attainable. And speaking of that, so let's talk about single women, because this is a show that caters to women, and this is Women's History Month. And we're talking about being a trailblazer. I'm going to read a little bit of an article that just came out. This is with NBC News. Single women own more homes than single men. Here's what they're doing differently. Single women accounted for nearly 20% of home purchases. This was just in 2019. It says, this is the Census Bureau, so this is data. This is just not opinion, guys. This is actual data. Single women own more than 1.5 million more homes than single men do in America's 50 largest metro areas. So why do you think that's the case? What would you think the motivation behind that would be? Or is it responsibility because we mature sooner?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Boys are dumb. We're dumb. We take time to mature and see. Yeah, we over there running around, no real focus. If a guy is lucky enough, me as a father, I have a 13-year-old. In my mind, I'm already set to help whatever my daughter needs.
That's true.
Mentally, so I can imagine some of these, ladies get the help from daddy and mama, which is awesome.
Yes.
Now, and a lot of that is because your boys, again, knuckleheads. I'm not going to invest in you, and I see you can't get it right.
Not making the right decisions. Yeah.
So I'm not going to put that pressure on you. I would encourage you maybe to stay here, stay with me, save your money. I would encourage that, but you have to show me that you're doing that. And if you're not doing that, then, again, I'm gonna let you do your own thing. But for for your daughters, they get a little extra love and support. And she's 13, and in my mind,
y'all like to coddle and baby the girls.
Yeah, it's hard to let them go, and so I can imagine that's gonna happen regardless.
And that's a conversation that we should have, especially in our community. The lack of responsibility and how important it is, and how other communities, they nail it into their children's heads.
That's
you
right.
purchase a home in your 20s. This is an investment.
Right.
And then you sell it, purchase another home, or you keep it as a rental property. And you have that, you create that real estate portfolio. I think it's something huge that we need to start teaching our children at a younger age. We talked about this the last show, the importance of finance, financial independence as women and really as men, because that's who we're going to end up growing up to date and marry, ladies.
That's
so let's raise our sons as well to be financially responsible. And honestly, I'm always breaking down to clients that may call and say, I want to lease, especially if it's over a certain amount. I always say, I want to send you an example. I want you to, scroll down to the bottom of the listing, and you'll see the breakdown of the mortgage, insurance, taxes. Sometimes they don't have the insurance, but you can kind of guesstimate. You literally in the city of Houston, now every market is different. So I'm just speaking on the Houston metropolitan area. You most of the time are paying less, especially now due to interest rates, guys, being the current percentage that they are. You most of the time are paying less when you purchase a home, your monthly payment, than you are if you're leasing. So which decision would you make if you're paying to yourself and you're paying a little bit less, or paying into someone else's pockets, someone else's real estate portfolio, someone else's finances? How many times do you have that conversation? I guess of motivating people on the importance of home ownership.
That's a weekly conversation. I mean, if not daily. It's one of those things where I definitely understand holding out. You don't want the responsibility, because you are responsible for everything that happens to your home. So I understand. But it's just, my suggestion is to do it because it allows you to build equity and build wealth. And it's, it's not just about you, it's about the future. So you should do it regardless, especially if you're spending $5,000 and $6,000, $2,000. I don't care if it's $1,500. That's a mortgage.
Yeah,
it's a mortgage. So
some mortgages are even less than that.
That's right, based on what you're buying. That's right. Yeah, based on what you're buying. So I would never suggest to not buy, because it just allows you. I can tell you, man, you use equity, you can do things with that. You can consolidate debt. You can, invest in things.
Yes.
I mean, it's money. That's your money. And then you have that, and then you sell it, and then you're sitting on $100,000. You're sitting on $100,000 because
value appreciation.
Appreciation. It just allows you to make money when you're not really, you don't realize it, but you're making money while you're sleeping.
Exactly.
When you buy a house, So that's the old saying. The true meaning of wealth is when you're making money while you sleep. So this is one thing that allows you to do that.
So this will be a good segue for our next segment. We'll talk about how attainable really is it. I'm going to share a story that they shared within that same NBC article, so people can really see how attainable purchasing a home can be, especially now, once again, due to the low interest rates. All right, so we'll talk about that when we return. You are watching Mogul on the Move.
Edge Radio TV is holding auditions for new show hosts. Are you a subject matter expert, professional, influencer, book author, thought leader, or business owner with an educational or motivational platform? Then we want to meet you. Send a link of some of your work to edgeradio20@gmail.com and be sure to put audition in the subject line. Join the Edge Radio TV family. Edge TV, because truth still matters.
Aren't you tired of not getting what you want in bed?
Are you ready to spice things up behind those closed doors?
Woo! We're here for you every hump day at 7 p.m.
This is Sex on the Edge with Jen and Hen. I'm Jennifer Reeves.
And I'm Hendrik Scott, and we are professional licensed sex therapists.
So remember to watch us Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Edge Radio TV, just in time for sexy time.
All right, moguls, we are back and we're talking about women equals home ownership. That's our conversation cocktail today, our real estate conversation cocktail today. And I'm excited to have mortgage banker Tosh here with us because I'm a real estate agent. So I get excited about assisting individuals, couples, families with finding a home that fits their family's needs and being a part of someone, literally, like Tosh stated earlier, you're building wealth. You're building a real estate portfolio. I always like to say your real estate portfolio is so important because real estate really still is the cornerstone of wealth in the United States. And I think it's going to be that way for forever because land is so, you can't make more land. And it's just the most important, I say, purchase in the United States, in our nation. So I wanted to share a story because I want to just show how attainable home ownership is. So in the NBC news article that I've been sharing in today's show, and it's been talking about single women owning more homes than single men. So there's one lady that they put a spotlight on. Her name was Sarah Wilson. She literally, you guys, she's 31 years old, literally only makes $45,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is why this is important. The only debt she had was $33,000 in student loan, and she paid that off. So I want to talk about the fact that, now, mind you, she only made $45,000 a year. You can be someone that makes $100,000 a year, and your DTI, debt to income ratio, is down here because your debt is way up there. You can be someone that only makes like Sarah, like Mrs. Wilson, Ms. because she's single, that only makes $45,000, more than less than that, and are able to purchase a home. So I think a lot of times, and now what I hear the most, I will say, people don't even understand that it's a debt to income ratio. So they feel like if they make this much money, they can definitely get a house. And people that don't make as much feel like it's impossible for them to get a house because they only make this amount of money. But it all has to do with your DTI. Can you expound on that, Tosh?
Yeah, you pretty much hit it on the nail because if you don't have much debt, you can make $30,000 a year. You don't have to make much. I mean, you can make $30,000 a year, and I'm gonna tell you that couple. And that was early in my career, but I just remember it because they came in my office like off the street, and they just were like, "Man, I'm tired of renting. I just don't think I can buy a house." And we did the application. They did a great job at saving some money. Wow. So that isn't always the case. That their down payment assistance programs and things that we can possibly take advantage of. But it's doable. Like the article said, you don't have to make much. $45,000 get you something nice. $30,000 get you something nice. Believe it or not, it's just really catching at the right time. But you can get something real nice and not make much, and it'd be great if that's just one person. If you got a partner, you can get you have more purchasing power. But for the single moms and single ladies, for sure, it's doable. And even if let's say we do an application and we can't get something done, it's only a matter of time. It's just putting the game plan together. The hardest part the hardest thing for me is when, because you get so discouraged, you don't put a plan in action, and the next year, because time is gonna fly by, and you find yourself in the exact same position.
Talk a little bit about making a plan of action for those who say, well, I don't even want to go speak with a mortgage banker yet until I can figure out what I need to do. You can be a great guide for them. So let's talk about not being anxious or allowing fear to keep you from approaching a mortgage banker, and you're with a traditional bank, especially there's really a huge fear for traditional banks. for whatever reason. I guess, I don't know. I guess they feel like it's going to be more regulations, more rules.
Yeah, that's it. Because a lot of these banks, the big banks, are conservative, which they are, but there are rules and guidelines that all lenders have to go by, and you it won't disqualify you. Because of those rules that are in place. As long as you meet the minimum requirement, you can buy a house. So
talk about
and that's where it comes
why
from.
you would motivate someone to come and speak to you when they make that decision. I want to purchase a home, and you being able to assist and guide them, even if they're not approved at that moment. Being able to allow them and assist them with making a plan, so that maybe in 6 months, sometimes it can be as soon as 3 months if they pay certain things off. 3 months, 6 months, a year.
Right.
Expound on that, why it's so important for them not to be fearful of approaching you as a mortgage banker.
You have to, you're not going to realize what you have to do until you see what you have to do. Sometimes it's not as easier, like, just the 3 months, like you said, or 6 months. Sometimes it's a little, some extra stuff going on. You have some stuff going on in your personal life. So all understandable. But a lot of times it is that simple as a couple of more paychecks saved, paying off something small, something realistic. If you have a 401k, you can borrow against that or withdraw from that. That's how I bought my first house. And people don't realize that. Hey, I got 30,000 I got 20,000, I got 8,000, I got 10,000. We can leverage that and buy your first house as well. So there are many ways to get it done. The only way you're going to know for sure what direction you need to go is when we do the application, and then we'll see. Okay, we need to save a little more. We need to pay off a few things. Or we just need to lower our expectations and buy something a little smaller.
And let's talk about
in price,
that.
Lower in price.
This is how blessed we are to live in the city of Houston, the fastest growing city as it pertains to construction and home ownership. There's all types of properties of homes. We are not in a market where there's not much middle class, right? We talked about that from your hometown, New Orleans. I lived in New Orleans. I started at the university at Xavier. And literally, there's a lot of either you don't have or you have in the city of New Orleans. There's not much middle in between, right? But we live in a city that allows us the entire gamut, all price ranges. And you literally can get a brand new at that 3-bedroom home, and your mortgage may only be with taxes $1,200 a month, and some of us are out here paying $1,500 a month for an apartment, right?
That's right.
And so we're not in a city. Take advantage. I want to say this because this is a jewel. Take advantage of the city that you're residing. If you're residing in Houston, Texas, it's a unique market because there is such a large gambit, a wide array of homes to purchase, a wide array of price ranges, and just construction. So you don't have to necessarily, you may be in another city, this price point, I have to purchase an old decapitated property that's going to take an extensive amount of renovation. You don't have that issue if you're living in the city of Houston. So it's almost baffling to me if you have the choice, unless once again you have extreme cases, you're going through divorce and you can't purchase right now, or you know that you're going to be moving for employment in 6 months, whatever the case may be, and you're needing a short lease, or there's always going to be the exception to the rule, those extreme cases. But if you have the choice, you got to kind of get over having to cut your yard. I literally have had conversations with individuals, and they're like, I don't want the responsibility of having to take care of maintaining a yard and having to worry about what if my AC starts acting up. That's why you have home warranty. and you just pay your deductible. That's usually $75 now. Well, $50 or $75 depending on what type of warranty you have. But when I hear that, it's like I almost cringe. Like, okay, you're not gonna start building your wealth in your real estate portfolio because you don't want to have the responsibility of maintaining a yard. I literally have those conversations.
I know.
It's insanity.
I know. Yeah, people will be people. And I understand that they, right, it's a mindset, it's a mindset. And I was raised different, I had to cut my grass every weekend. So I actually look forward to that in a weird way. Now,
feeling proud, ownership.
Yeah, you cut your grass, that's right. Trim your bushes, and then you make a couple extra dollars, you can pay somebody to come cut it for you. It's really not that expensive either, but man, it's I understand. That's why I don't. It's like, man, listen. When you're ready, you give us a call. But I assure you, it's a lot easier than you think.
And it's
to accomplish all these things.
It's so well worth it. In the next segment, because you touched on something, you said the way I was raised. And so a lot of times I think it definitely depends on what you were taught.
That's right.
Because that equates what you value, what you may have pride in. And depending on what type of community you were raised in, you might not necessarily have been taught or have seen, right? Home ownership. Maybe your family, you come from a family that always have only rented.
Yeah.
Or leased, because some people will lease for 30 years. I don't understand.
That's right.
Paying someone else's mortgage, literally paying it off. Because most mortgages are 30-year terms.
That's right. Some people lease for life, man.
And
some
so
people decide to do things a certain way.
Exactly. So I want to touch on that. Shall we continue? Or do you want better for yourself and the generation to proceed? Shall we continue? Because when you know better.
That's what it's about. That's what it's all about. That's exactly what it's about. It's if you can, you're buying it for your future, for your future, for your kids' future. That's what you're buying it for. And that's where we, in the early days, couldn't buy because, the chips were stacked against us. And we lost a lot of our wealth in that regard. So now is the time. It's not all about you. It helps everything. It helps yourself. You build equity. Helps the economy.
Helps your community.
That's why. Yeah. That's right. It's almost like it's if you can, you do it.
Yes.
And I understand for those who just can't do it for whatever reason. But
just
if you
be
can,
patient,
you do it.
It can happen. Just as long as you take the steps to make it happen. So I want to next segment. Because not just for yourself, for the future preceding you, and for your community, because it's really it can be an inspiration for someone who didn't think it was possible. It could be, I didn't think it was possible, but they see someone that's in their sphere of influence, in their circle, doing it can inspire. You can literally inspire someone and change the trajectory of someone else's family, right? How important that is. So let's talk about that in the last segment when we come back. All right, guys, you guys are watching Mogul on the Move.
The Natural Nation Network is really about taking control of your health physically, spiritually, emotionally, even intellectually, because there's so much out there in misinformation. There's a lot of people now that are suffering from all sorts of diseases that they really wouldn't have to suffer for if they had better information. And that's what we're here to do. Provide information that can save lives.
The mind and the body are totally connected.
Health can be really serious, and sometimes we just have to lighten it up a little bit while we're still providing substantive information. And, my sort of mantra on the salsa dance floor is kind of similar. I tell somebody, if you make a mistake twice, it becomes a move. Okay?
Tune into Natural Nation every Tuesday at 11 a.m.
All right, Moguls, we are back, and today's topic, today's conversation cocktail is women equating home ownership. And I shared in the last two segments the fact, kind of shared a story about a lady, Sarah Wilson, a single woman who purchased her home at 31 years old, and she only made $45,000 a year. And I use that example to show you guys how attainable it is. You can have a person that makes $100,000 a year and has much more debt and has to wait a little while until they pay some debt off to purchase a home. And you can have someone that makes half or a little bit less than half that much. Or maybe, like you said, Tosh, our mortgage banker that's here with us today, may only make $30,000 but has not much debt that can purchase a home. Mm-hmm. And in the Houston metropolitan area, that's attainable because we have such a wide array of properties. You have even new construction, 3-bedroom, 1-story, new construction, that your mortgage may only be $1,200 a month, and you're paying much more than that for rent, right? So we were discussing the last segments of, and I guess we can say being a trailblazer, because you really are being a trailblazer if you are the first person in your family to purchase a home, right? It's like being the first person in your family to go to college, being the first person in your family to get a secondary degree. And I've shared with you before, I'm the only female in my family that only has a bachelor's. Everybody else has a master's. I'm the only I'm the lesser,
step your game
educated.
Step your game
I know, right? Go back and get that master's if I need it. I don't feel like I need it now. But,
right.
But being a trailblazer and how important that is, being, and I'm going to say African Americans, because of course there's quite a large percentage of us that may have necessarily not been raised in home ownership, were raised in a family that's only rented. What an inspiration you can be and motivate someone else to change the trajectory of their family. So what is your thought about that, Tosh?
Yeah, it's just time to step up. I mean, because you know what, we're all meant to be great in our own way, and there's no limit to what you want if you're willing to do what it takes. And so, yeah, being a trailblazer, I don't know, I know by definition what it means, but I just feel like you're meant to be great. Our parents and grandparents were the same. We just had some restrictions, but you just meant to be great. So, regardless of what your parents did, whatever your parents did and your grandparents did, it matters as motivation, but you also, it should be something within, not just because my mama did it or didn't do it. It's because, it's almost just a more of a why not do it? Why not try? Fail to succeed, just try. Because, as humans, we are very complex. You will adjust. You just can't let the outside world influence you. But you are just as great as everybody else. There's no one greater than you. So why
that's powerful.
Not? So that's what's more, And, don't put so much pressure on you. Well, I better do it to make my mama proud of her. No, you do it for yourself. You're doing it for you. You're doing it for yourself. And in the process, your community will be empowered. Your children will be empowered.
Especially.
You will encourage people around you to empower. Well, Tosh did it. Sean did it. Okay. And what you said about Houston. Houston's one of those markets, man.
We're so fortunate here.
So many sisters, so many brothers and sisters are really doing their thing.
Yes.
And they're not athletes. They're just hardworking individuals. Yeah. And they're just, they're making things happen. And from New Orleans, it's definitely have not.
There's a lot of New Orleans that have relocated to Houston now.
Yeah. We hit deep. We hit deep.
Y'all are deep in Houston.
All throughout Houston. Yeah.
Hurricane Katrina, there's been articles about that actually. And I know you're aware, you're a mortgage banker. That really catapulted a lot of New Orleans natives that were here, forced to be here due to catastrophe.
That's right.
But actually was like, hey, this is a new beginning.
Okay, I like it here.
See, yeah.
Yeah, I like it here. And I have a lot of cousins here. So me coming here, I used to visit here all the time. And I always say it always seems like the people out here doing better than where I'm from. Everybody doing big houses and nice cars and, they have things going on. And, so for me, it only made sense when I had the opportunity. I said, you know what? Because I didn't want to go back to New Orleans. I was in New York. I did Atlanta. We even did LA. And now, I knew that Houston is the best fit because I am a Southerner. So I'm gonna stay down south. And so this is the best thing you can get to a major market and, suburban lifestyle that's affordable.
At this, please, when I say affordable, so I would say more than half of my clients actually are relocators. For whatever reason, that's just every realtor has their own little formula. But that's just the case for me. And what you always hear, the two major things: weather, the lifestyle, unless they're coming from California. Most of my clients are either from California, up north or northeast. Like I have two that I'm working with right now. Both sets are from Pennsylvania. Weird, but both are from Pennsylvania. But north and northeast is always the weather and pricing. And my California clients is always pricing. I'm telling you, wherever they're from, it's always pricing. Oh God, I can get so much more in Houston. It's just amazing. Do you know how much this house? I get that by DMs when I post different properties in Texas. I just did one in Rockwall. Beautiful home. I think it was like 500-something thousand. Then I received messages. Do you know that would be like 2.1 million here? Or do you know that would be 1.5 million here? So we truly are in a unique market. Now let me say this, because Forbes did an article that we're going to be a super city like, like a Hong Kong, right? We're the ninth. We're actually number 9 in the world as it comes to economy, which I didn't realize, and that we're going to be a super city. So it might not always be as affordable as it is now.
And listen, it's because the big companies are coming here. So
yes.
I think it still will because there's just so many people moving here. So I think.
You don't think that bubble is going to burst? Because real estate agents talk about that. Like, it's going to be to a point because this is why we say that, because there's so many investors that are purchasing even the tax auction properties. It's like you can't even compete at the tax auction. So I'm thinking it's possible. That is going to kind of.
You know what? I mean, we don't control that, right? So it's a strong possibility. As demand rises,
it's like half
the prices can go up. That's right, man. And so, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, my home probably not quite doubled, but it went up about 200,000 since I've been here 13 years.
Wow. Appreciation, the equity, what you can do with that money. You can take that money, start a business.
Yeah.
You can take that money, invest it to your children when they go to college.
That's
you
right.
can take that money, purchase another property. and increase
Mm-hmm.
your real estate portfolio.
Mhm.
That's why I say,
That's right.
don't allow fear to not have you contact someone like myself, a real estate agent that's a professional, licensed, or someone like Tosh, a mortgage banker. Even if you think or may not be ready, we can give you the steps and guideline on what you need to do to be able to get to the point where you can purchase a piece of property. And it's not always a home. It may be a piece of land. Some of you guys out there are wanting to purchase duplexes that you're not going to reside in. And some people do reside. So you can't, and let's end it on that note. Let's not allow fear to keep us from at least inquiring, just to get the knowledge that we need so that we can purchase.
That's right. It's really that simple. I promise you, you can buy your house. Somebody will get you and finance that for you. I promise you. Minimum requirements. And we just have a conversation on where you are currently. Give me a little information. We'll figure it out. You know, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen in situations where I didn't think it was going to ever happen for certain individuals. And they got into it. I don't want to hear that. This, you know, it's just a matter of being informed. And I understand. Before I knew, I didn't know, right? 20 years ago, I didn't know.
So let's wrap it up because we're kind of running out of time. But I do want to thank you before we leave. I can't be amiss and not say, I just want to thank you for being a good friend, a listening ear, a great friend, I would say, a listening ear, dealing with clients personally. I pray that God continues to bless you and elevate you in 2021. Thank you so much. And tell the wife I said hello.
Thank you for inviting me, sis.
All right, moguls, until next time, be kind and be safe, guys.